Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell and this is my review of Millennium Actress. Now this is an anime film which came out back in 2001 in Japan, and it is now in its 18th anniversary and has received a re-release in the US today and then next Monday the 19th if you're watching this now. And so I saw the original Japanese version with English subtitles, so that's the version that I'm going to be reviewing. I assume it's not terribly different than the dub. And this is one of 4 films from director Satoshi Kon, who I have not seen a lot of his work, to be frankly honest. There's a lot of older anime, basically anything that predates 2010 or a little bit farther than that. I have probably not seen it because it's only recently that I started getting into anime like full force, and so a lot of the older stuff I just haven't had a chance to check out yet. And so this is one of those films. And this was also obviously my first viewing of this film, so I went into it fresh eyes. If you are a deep critic and analyst of this film, I'm probably going to mess stuff up, so or disagree with you to some extent. The first thing that really stands out with this movie though for me is the animation, because this is hand-drawn animation. It's before movies started going more with the CGI route and just kind of more what you expect nowadays with like both more mainstream modern day anime as well as kind of like Disney Pixar type of animation with kind of like the CG claymation-esque models from stuff like Tangled and Frozen. And so as a result, I really enjoyed seeing this initial like 2D art style, because it's just not something that I'm exposed to that much less with anime and Japanese style in that extent. And I really got to admire how well it was done and how much time and precision is put into these characters and the detail and just how good it looks on screen for stuff in that style. The music was also a big thing which really stood out to me. Just the background orchestration, I just couldn't stop admiring it every time I noticed it on screen during just filling in, like when the main actress is trying to chase after the train, or just major events that are happening in her life. There's just this great orchestral soundtrack which is playing in the background, which just elevates those scenes to another level for me, and I just really enjoyed seeing those, and they really just made the film a lot better for me personally. And the main plot of this film, if you are not familiar, is that it focuses on this young actress. Starts out I think in like the 1930s, somewhere around there, and she's recruited to be an actress, and before she decides to become an actress, she runs into this rebel basically during the beginnings of the Second Japanese-China War, which happened, I believe, in 1937. And she basically ends up with a key from him and has to basically spend a large majority of her life trying to track him down after they have to depart unexpectedly. It's a very quick meeting. They don't really spend a large amount of time together, but the film's first 20 minutes or so sets up that event. And me not knowing a lot about this film going into it, I assumed that it was going to have us follow her throughout her life, just trying to track that person down. And it does that for the most part. It just does it in such an abstract way that just kind of threw me initially, just trying to figure out what was going on with the movie. But eventually you figure out that it's just blending basically what she was doing in her life in regards to trying to find this guy who she doesn't even really know what he looks like, or she knows he's an artist and that's about it. So it just proves to be a very difficult task for her. But they blend that journey and that task that she's trying to accomplish with her film career. And so you get to see just these different film styles take place, and basically throwing her own journey on top of that, along with the 2 guys who are doing this documentary about this young girl. And so they're kind of incorporated into these scenes in this past as well. And so it kind of becomes this blend of reality and film along with some fantasy-esque elements to an extent. And I think that the film does that in a very, very well done fashion. Like I said though, just on a first viewing and not really realizing what is going on necessarily, because it goes from them being in Manchuria to just in like a samurai movie. And so it just feels very disjointed at first, just not knowing what's happening or why the setting has changed suddenly. But upon reflection after the fact, it's really creative in regards to how it is done. I just kind of wish it would have been a little bit smoother of a transition, maybe, at least for, I don't know, first time viewing. It would have helped a little bit. The other minor critique that I have is, at least with what I saw on screen, some of the subtitles seemed a little bit off, or at least there were like slight grammar issues, or like words seemed incorrect as to what was kind of being described or what was going on within the conversation, and so that just kind of bugged me a little bit. But the main overall theme of this film by the end of it is the idea of the destination, or kind of where you're trying to get to or what you're trying to accomplish, versus the journey of getting there. This is a very old theme. It's in numerous books, movies, TV shows, games. It's in a bunch of different medias. But I think the film captures it in a very unique way, in that this girl spends a large amount of her life, like I said, trying to find this guy, and is just focused on that. By the time that she is on her deathbed at the end of the film, spoilers, it's basically revealed that she has kind of basically accepted the idea that even if she was to find him now and he was to be alive, he would never recognize her at this point because of how old she has become, because when she met him initially, she was a young girl. Now that she's much older, there's no chance that he would even recognize her. And so that's kind of something which haunts her throughout the course of the film, because earlier on you see the kind of the start of that start to take place with her seeing like this ghost spirit of sorts, which decides to curse her, but it's really just her own kind of mindset and this lingering idea that the older that she gets and the longer it takes for her to finally find him, the less likely it is that he'll even recognize who she is by that point. And the fact that she never actually finds him because he was killed much longer ago is another kind of saddening part of it, and makes it a much more of a tragic romantic story. But I did like at the end of the film where she basically acknowledges that that what she was really appreciating and liking about this whole experience was the idea of trying to find him, not necessarily finding him itself. And so I really appreciate that. And so overall, Millennium Actress, it's very, very good. I really appreciate it a lot, and I think upon the multiple viewings, I will appreciate it even more. It has some funny moments to it as well. The animation is fantastic, and the musical background just really drew me in every time. It just really fluctuated a scene. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. If you have a chance to check it out, I definitely recommend doing it. Like I said, at least in my AMC theater, it's close to me. It is going to be available on the 19th via Fathom Events, so check out that if you want to see a dub showing near you, or I think it's on like Amazon or other places that you can find it, most likely. So yeah, if you have seen Millennium Actress, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. I'd love to discuss it with you. Let me know your favorite film from Satoshi Kon, of his 4, I believe, is what I saw. And so I will probably try to watch the other 3 when I get an opportunity to. Perfect Blue, I'm very, very curious about now, just based on little things that I've seen about it being kind of a horror-esque anime film, which I haven't seen a lot of. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, bring people, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, keep on watching.